I'm going to use a concept called the 3-act and 4-act structure. When we get into our plot class, you're going to learn a lot more about why we believe these patterns exist of 3 and 4 acts. And I'll give you a proof for it in the plot class in a few weeks. Right now, getting into it would require describing most of what we cover in the plot class. So for now, just give me a little suspension of disbelief. And let's take a look at a 3 and a 4-act structure. What's this? Well, if I put that thumb under there, we've got 4 fingers, okay? 4 fingers. And you'll notice that with the 4 fingers, they have 3 spans that go between them. There are actually 4 topics that an audience explores in each of the 4 through lines. For those of you who know Dramatica, there'll be 4 topics in each of the 4 through lines. Those topics form a little thing called a quad. What's a quad? A quad is just a little framework to hold 4 like items. They're not arbitrary items. They're items that pertain to the same kind of subject matter divided into 4 equally weighted parts. For example, we might have learning in 1, we'll call that 1. I don't think I have room here to do this on the bottom. I think I'll do it over on the side. This would be number 1, and we'll call it 1 learning. Now I'm sorry if this isn't very readable on the web broadcast, but on the CD-ROM we use less compression, so it comes out much more clear. But I'll call out the words as I go so that you can see them and at least see where I'm pointing. Number 1, learning. Number 2, doing. Number 3, understanding. And number 4, obtaining. Now these are 4 items that occur in the physics part of the chart. If I hold that up, I don't know if you can see it. I'll hold it a little closer so we can get a better look at it here. Let's see, over there. And there it is. Perhaps you can read those 4 words that describe those 4 areas. They are learning, understanding, doing, obtaining. I think I put them in different positions up here, but that's of no consequence. The main thing is there are 4 different terms under physics. What are they? They're primary concerns in the story. Learning, doing, understanding, and obtaining. Okay. We could have our characters start with number 1, learning something until they're able to finally do it, doing something until they arrive at an understanding. Understanding grows until they're able to obtain. Or we could change the order and have it be 1 and 2, 3 and 4, so that they learn something until they finally arrive at an understanding. Based on that understanding, they're able to start doing, and they do until they're able to obtain. Or we could change the order rather completely. And we could say, these characters obtain something. They don't know what it is, but they learn more about it until they're finally able to understand, and when they are, they can use what they found to do something. Like they obtain a lost tablet from a lost civilization, then they learn more about it until they're able to finally decipher the text with understanding, and when they decipher it, they are able to make the chant that calls back the good spirits to vanquish the terrible ghost or whatever. The order in which these occur is going to change the meaning of the story's plot, but regardless of what order they occur, there are going to be these 4 points. Now, that's what's happening in plot. That's all the plot that I'm going to give you. But as you saw, with 4 points, there are 3 spans. Let's draw it out this way. We'll call it A, B, C, and D. And we're going to say that the spans between them are 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So altogether we have 7 different things we're concerned with for each 4 items. Once we've established an order in which they occur, we can see that each one of the items that's explored is like a signpost on a road. Here's our road. Little dotted line down the middle. Now each one of these is a signpost. This signpost is where we're beginning. There's a little signpost. This signpost is where we're going to end. Maybe we're going from one city to another city, for example. This is what's generally considered the beginning of a story. This is where we begin. It's the way things are. It's our setup. This is our conclusion. This is where they end. So in our thematic argument, for example, it'll almost be like saying this is greed. Let me write it in black so you can see a little better. This would be greed. This would be self-destruction, SD. And this whole bit in the middle, this 1, this 2, this 3, and this B and this C, all of them would be combined into leads to in the standard premise. We call these signposts because they mark even amounts of ground that cover the entire subject. Learning, understanding, doing, and obtaining cover the processes of physics. There are 2 internal things you can do about the physical activities. You can learn about them, you can understand about them, and there are 2 physical things that you can do, external things in physical activities. You can do them, you can obtain them. Learning, understanding, doing, and obtaining covers all of our internal and external concerns about physics, all of our mental concerns about physics, and they become the 4 signposts, each covering the same amount of ground. In between, the audience in the story will take 3 journeys. When you have an order in which you're going to explore these pieces of land, this gives you the road map, and these give you the experience of making the trip. That's why they're called journeys. So there'll be journey 1, journey 2, and journey 3. Okay. So in this case, rather than saying greed leads to self-destruction, as the premise began, we could say greed goes to whatever this is, goes to whatever this is, goes to self-destruction, and we can then clearly look at the journeys. For example, if this was learning, rather than greed, because that was the example we used here. Learning. Okay. Then we could say understanding. Doing, that would be C, would be doing. And obtaining would be D, in the plot. Now remember, I'm talking theme here with the premise. I'm talking plot here with these signposts. So, we learn, that covers this much ground. Then we have the understanding portion of it on the road. Then we have the doing portion of it on the road. And finally, we have the obtaining portion of the road. When we take these pieces and arrange them in the order we want, it's our road map. And the journeys would be learning until we're able to arrive at an understanding, increasing our understanding until we're able to start doing more and more until we can finally obtain. We end up with 7 things, and that's for each of the 4 through lines. You see, the main character is going to have his own 4 concerns that he'll explore in a particular order. And he'll go on his own 3 journeys of growth, from the beginning through the middle to the end. So will the obstacle character, who represents the opposing worldview, the alternative outlook that the main character might adopt, but will not necessarily adopt. And so the obstacle character, that opposing outlook, will also have 4 areas it needs to explore to make its case, and 3 journeys that span them to carry one to the point of exploring the next, dividing up the pie into 4 pieces and describing how you pick one up and put it on the plate and then go for the next piece of pie. And the objective story and the subjective story will each have its own set of 3 journeys and 4 signposts.